And we are live! What is up, everyone? Welcome to Ring the Bell Live. My name is Joey Mayberry. I am your dad bod demigod, professional wrestling's big gay slut. And as always, I am here on a Saturday in order to let you all know the ins and outs of women's wrestling in WWE, along with a fabulous panel of a lot of colorful characters. And when I say colorful, I mean we're about to get golden to start this off. Jake Smith is here.
Hey, what's up, all you stars and studs? I am very excited to be on this episode this week. Because stuff actually happened.
Stuff did happen.
Unlike sometimes on our podcast, when Joey and I have to fill time because the women were not on.
All the time. And the unseen, invisible hand of women's wrestling, Chris Riddle, is in the house.
More retirements than The Undertaker.
Cher and Taker combined.
Jake and I may have coordinated outfits this week, by the way.
We did.
Are you both rocking the Pride Trish Stratus shirt?
Yeah, which is awesome, and you guys should definitely get it. I think it's a permanent fixture on her shop now. I had a few people message me, and they're like, "Oh, I missed it," but you did not.
So inside scoop on that, it was so popular that they had to make it permanent.
Wow.
Yeah, it sold out in an hour. The original shipments did.
I love that. And to round out this colorful crew, you have seen her on everything from NWA to AEW. Will bend you in a pretzel while she's eating pretzels. Sky Blue is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Sky.
Awesome. Well, we're here to talk about the women's wrestling action that we got on Raw and SmackDown this week. And our main topic, you guys, is something that caught me entirely off guard, because I was not expecting to see Zelina Vega return on SmackDown this week. So, basic rundown. Sonya Deville is announcing the next competitor for Money in the Bank, and she names Zelina Vega, who walks out like she's never left the company, and that's how commentary played it up. And she returns, says that she's going to dominate. Liv Morgan comes out and kind of upstages her return, says she deserves to be in Money in the Bank, gives her a nice smack across the face, and then beats her in a one-on-one match. So this return gave all sorts of pops and expositions and probably more storyline than we've gotten out of SmackDown in at least the last 2 weeks, which was really refreshing. Jake, how did you feel seeing Zelina Vega strut back down the aisle?
Well, first of all, I got so excited because hers is one of the few themes I like where they, for no reason, say the name at the beginning. Zelina Vega. So I was really excited about that. I'm loving the new look with the red in the middle. So I had read a rumor that, a few weeks ago, she was at the Performance Center. But then when Aleister got released, I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's no longer happening. So I was pleasantly surprised to see her. I think Zelina is such a hidden gem in WWE. She was one of the breakout stars for me of the pandemic era. I really love her because she kind of, for me anyway, mixes a little bit of Melina and AJ Lee, if that makes any sense.
I mean, she played AJ Lee.
Yeah, so, she played AJ Lee if AJ Lee forgot her gear at home and had to borrow something from Maurice. So I still don't get why they didn't give her actual gear. That was so weird to me. Anyway, but I really love AJ.
Sky looks confused. We're discussing the Page movie right now.
The Page movie. Fighting with my family.
Page here.
Yeah. So, but I was really happy to see Zelina back. I think she's going to be an asset to the division. They are needing some more women. And I love that Liv's interaction with her was such a great moment for both of them as well. The match was fun. The segment was fun. I love both of these women. So it was great to see them get some time on SmackDown.
And your sentiments are being echoed right now in Super Chats. Jay Galaxy Schizo said he was really living for the fact that Zelina Vega is back and making a statement for who? Mr. Chris Riddle, how did you feel seeing, La Idolo returning?
Well, I was expecting her to be on Dynamite next week as Andrade's surprise, so that caught me a little off guard. I had to watch SmackDown on a delay, so about midnight I checked Twitter and it said Zelina Vega has qualified for Money in the Bank, and I'm like, oh, okay. Did not see that one coming. I'm happy for it. A lot of people in the comments made a point that I'm reading, and I have to agree with it. Did anybody get some major AJ Lee vibes from her promo last night? Like, just her cadence and everything reminded me a lot of AJ.
Kind of. She's such a freaking presence, that girl is. No lie.
I'm already happy that it seems like they're putting more of a focus on her than last time around. And maybe the fact that Andrade's not around, and she's on. I know she was on her own before, but everybody was still associating them together. This can be kind of a fresh start for her.
I agree with that. Sky, how did you feel with Zelina being back on SmackDown?
I like her as an athlete. I think she'd be really fun to wrestle.
I'd watch that match.
No, that's just me.
Okay.
I want to wrestle everybody. So.
Maybe next week you'll be the person Sonya comes out for Money in the Bank. So
I'm here. Hello. I think opportunity for her.
It's a
surprise, guys. I'm actually in Money in the Bank. That's SmackDown next week. I actually come out and qualify for the women's Money in the Bank match.
No more men in Money in the Bank matches for women.
No, please, God, no.
What's great about this, though, is, and what I'm kind of hoping is Liv maybe is the potential winner of Money in the Bank this year. Just the way that they're building an actual storyline for her is fantastic. Like, that she has to basically beat all the other women. I'm interested in next week to see who the final woman is. She'll probably have to be, I'm hoping it's Mia, because I know she was put on SmackDown, and I don't know where the hell she is. But I'd love it to be Mia as the final person.
She's in the office behind me, Jake. She's right there.
We're just gonna point to all of our Mia Yim action figures. Like mine's over in the corner. But no, I can't wait for Liv Morgan to qualify. I'm really enjoying this kind of qualification storyline that they're giving Liv Morgan, especially with her picking up wins over Carmella and picking up wins over a returning Zelina Vega. The only thing that's weird to me is, why are they making her earn it after she's beat two people, but giving it just to the other two people?
I think it's going to lead to a potential storyline that maybe sees Sonya back in the division with Sonya and Liv Morgan. Because, for whatever reason, Sonya's like, all right, yeah, you've beaten these people, but you still haven't proven it to be in Money in the Bank, which I don't get. So, honestly, I think it's some sort of personal growth. Hey, maybe she saw Liv Morgan and Mandy having a discussion, and she's still mad about Mandy Rose. So, I don't know, but I'm excited to see where it's going. I'm hoping it's going somewhere and not just Strapped.
I would love that. I saw somebody tweet about that this morning, and that would be a phenomenal angle.
So let's do a little bit of a round table here to wrap up our conversation on this. So we know Carmella and Zelina are the SmackDown side of Money in the Bank. We also have Asuka, Naomi, oh my God, who call it Alexa Bliss and Nikki Ash, who we are going to talk about in just a little bit, that qualified for Money in the Bank. Who do we think is going to round out this? Like, Liv Morgan kind of seems like a shoo-in, but do you think we might see another woman from either roster, or maybe even something from NXT? Because they did mention on SmackDown NXT is up for Money in the Bank. So
yeah,
who do you think might round off this Money in the Bank?
I mean, I have my fingers crossed for Mia, but if it's not Mia, I can see them either bringing up, I know I heard rumors that they were doing some tryout matches this week, potentially Shotzi or Toni Storm I could see in it. So
yes, Shotzi.
I'm not really sure. At first I thought it would be like Nadia and Tamina, but I think they're going to steer clear of Money in the Bank this year. So we'll see. To be honest, I really have no clue. Maybe Sasha, but I feel like Sasha will return later. I could see her returning after the I Quit match and attacking Bianca. Maybe. We'll see.
I can agree with that. Sky, I saw your head turn just like mine as soon as he said Shotzi. We were both like, Shotzi?
Chicago people.
Shotzi!
So Shotzi looks like a shoe-in for you. Who else would you like to see in Money in the Bank this year?
I do like watching Toni Storm wrestle. She does a lot of cool creative stuff.
I'd take Toni in that.
I'm down for that. I feel like she could have some fun in a ladder match too.
You know, you mentioned Shotzi and Chicago people. She's not necessarily Chicago, but she's been here enough. Along with that tryout, Scarlett was backstage.
Oh, shit. I forgot about Scarlett. Yeah. Although I really don't want them to split them up, but I'd be into it. I think, oh, hi.
We'll just let her
I'm fine with them getting split up.
Come on with the shade, Chris.
Perfectly fine with them getting split up.
You just broke Sky's heart.
Ralph wants to see Mia, he said.
Yes.
Aww. Thank you, Ralph. Chris, who do you want to see round off Money in the Bank this year?
You know what the funny thing is? I just remembered Money in the Bank is already next Sunday, so they've only got one episode of SmackDown. So here's a theory. Liv qualifies next week, and they save the last surprise SmackDown entrant for the pay-per-view itself.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm looking at the chat right now, and I'm seeing a name that people keep throwing out that I'm really excited about. Io Shirai.
Ooh.
I like it.
Because there's not a lot left for her to do in NXT.
I'm shocked she's even back in NXT, to be honest. I thought after she dropped the belt, because she wasn't on for a few weeks, I'm like, okay, so she's getting called up. So I'm just kind of confused why she hasn't been yet.
I think they're just kind of waiting for crowds to get back because Io Shirai would bring a pop. I think.
Well, maybe that's a surprise then.
I hope they give out those LED bracelets like they were doing at the NXT shows again because I liked her entrance with them. So
I do like those LED bracelets.
Joey, to answer the question, in a dream world, it would be Liv and Mia Yim.
I support both of those. I think. Honestly, any name that got thrown out between the four of us, I think, was actually a phenomenal fit, to be honest. I would love to see some other people, maybe a few surprises, maybe even like an NXT UK girl like Kaylee Ray, who just got married. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Congrats to her.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and head into the overall review. We haven't got any more super chats just yet, but if you guys send those in, I will do my absolute best to go ahead and wrap that up at the end, as long as my computer doesn't crash like it does. It's a ring the bell tradition. But let's go ahead and talk about Monday Night Raw, because the first piece of women's action that we got was a backstage promo with Shayna, Nia, and Reggie. And Reginald was there. He didn't do much this week, so I'm pretty grateful for it. But Shayna Baszler is facing Nikki Cross later. She basically said that she wants to rid Monday Night Raw of this superhero, and she wants to rid it of Alexa and her stupid doll, Lily. And then at the very end of the promo, we just see Alexa standing in the shadows, staring at them. Also in plain sight a little bit, but we'll go ahead and ignore that.
No one can see me.
Yeah. But we can go ahead and lump this into the entire discussion of Nikki and Shayna. So we also got the Nikki promo before the match, which Nikki revealed that she is the almost a superhero. So Nikki Ash is what she's saying, because she's almost a superhero.
What are we calling her? Like, what's the... I'm fine with either, just pick one.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It was kind of confusing too. I think the commentators were kind of confused as well because they were going in between Nikki Ash and Nikki Cross when she was out there. I don't hate it because it kind of reminds me. Remember when Rosie was with the Hurricane?
Superhero in training.
Yeah,
I was about to say that. Yeah,
superhero in training. So it kind of reminds me of that. I guess they like doing that. I prefer though her having an actual superhero name. I think that'd be so fun for her.
I mean, if they let her grow into a superhero, I'm just kind of still upset with the fact that you're going to put a cape on her and just not let her be a superhero. Like, yeah, you kind of need that. Sky, you look perplexed like most of us watching Monday Night Raw. What are you thinking about Nikki as a superhero?
Well, like, I saw the pictures on social media and whatever, so I didn't know if it was like they're not, like, it's no more Nikki. Is it no more Cross and that that's the new thing, or
we have no
we don't know.
It's all of the above.
The commentators were saying Nikki Cross and then they were saying Nikki Ash sometimes. So it's just kind of confusing right now. I think.
But she was introduced as, sorry Jake, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
Almost a superhero Nikki Cross. So
oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that's what the announcer said.
That's a little backwards.
Whatever the letters are, her like.
Yeah.
It's confusing, but I hope they figure it out. Because here's the thing: I won't lie, and I'm probably the minority here, but I like it. I think it works for her. I think Nikki kind of takes everything. Yeah, everything she gets, I think she really does the most with it. And I really love this character for her. I think superhero characters are fun. And you know what? At the end of the day, they're going to sell merch. They're great with kids. It's a win-win for WWE. So I like, and her Tron graphics are so cute with the lightning bolts like going at her and stuff. Yeah. I liked that. So I just think they need to figure out what they're going. I think they need to have her just own the superhero thing entirely. Like, not be like, ooh, this outfit makes me feel confident. It's like, yeah, okay, but like, I mean, Dawn Marie could have gone out there and said that too, like wearing a thong. So like,
or a nurse's outfit.
Yeah, or a nurse's outfit that we'll get a figure of, and that'll be the only Dawn Marie figure.
Oh,
but so I bitch about that a lot. But yeah,
I know
so
we're kind of
like
like torn on whether Nikki's a superhero, but what I'm kind of torn on is to move on into the match. It was Nikki Cross versus Shayna Baszler. We had Alexa at ringside who hypnotized and kicked Reginald in the crotch, and then Nikki got the victory over the distraction. The person I feel isn't benefiting a lot from any of this is Shayna Baszler is just falling down the totem pole like hardcore. She's picked up another loss on Raw, and they're not really building her up into a feud. They're just kind of letting her take L's left and right. It's a little disheartening. Chris, how did you feel after watching the match with Shayna and Shayna?
They need to separate them. I'm so over the Reginald thing. I am so over Nia and Shayna as a tag team. And don't get me wrong, I like them both respectively. But like you said, Shayna needs to be an ass kicker. If you're going to do the Nia thing with Reginald, have them away from Shayna. I'm over it. I'm over seeing Reginald on my television screen. It's not even heat. It's go away heat at this point, to the point where I don't even want to watch the segments with it. Mm-mm. Like, it's bad. I cannot stand watching it.
It's getting really cringe. Sky, what do you think of the whole Reginald and Nia and Shayna situation that's been going on?
Well, I think those two girls as a tag team honestly don't make sense anymore. Just because Shayna's whole thing was like the MMA, or not the MMA, that's MMA,
no, you're right. Yeah.
Or UFC, or whatever crowd.
We don't know those things.
What are those pay-per-view things?
The other acronyms.
One of those
the real stuff.
Yeah. See Walmart for reference. I don't know.
And all of us are broke at Walmart.
Done.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was going to say no more.
Yeah, you broke us all with Walmart, Jake. What do you think of this?
I feel bad for Shayna because the thing is, what I was really hoping for after her loss to Alexa, I was hoping it'd be kind of like a Fiend thing, where like the Fiend changes you. And this would unlock what we've been kind of missing from Shayna the last couple months, where she becomes this undefeatable monster again. I heard there's supposed to be a draft after SummerSlam, so I'm hoping that's at least a way to split up Nia and Shayna. Just because Shayna, it deserves to be in the title division, I think. I think she's a fantastic athlete. I think she's a great character. I was loving what she was doing with Becky prior to Becky getting pregnant. So I'm hoping, this is an opportunity for her down the road to split them up. Nia and Reginald, that can continue in whatever situation they want it to, but
the weird thing is they already did split them up like 2 weeks ago.
Shayna beat his ass. So I'm like, are they still coming out together?
I don't know. I was like, why are y'all friends again? It's just, it's the thing that we go crazy with every single week here, which is just 1 week of storytelling doesn't mean it's going to be congruent to the next week. And that's exhausting for watching a television show. Could you imagine if like we were watching Lost and like all the people just came back onto the plane? Like that's just how it works.
Maybe they had like a.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe they had like a real. This is like everything I've ever done with Chris. So like
us having conversations daily outside of broadcast too.
So maybe like Nia and Shayna had some sort of like Real Housewives apology that wasn't aired on TV, and like Shayna was like really unapologetic. She was like, "Yeah, fine. I guess I'm really sorry. That you did this, Nia." And Nia was like, "Any apology from Shayna, I'll take." So.
Look, I don't want my storylines told through Nia Jax's TikTok. I just don't. But let's go ahead and move on. Speaking of teams that are splitting up and getting back together, Eva Marie and Dewdrop are back. So Eva Marie and Dewdrop had a little backstage segment before their tag team rematch against Naomi and Asuka, where Eva basically looked at Piper Niven, Dewdrop, and said that she's going to be earning her, I guess, forgiveness or whatever she's trying to instill in Piper. This whole thing's a little convoluted because they're just not letting her explain it fully. Like, what is Piper's relationship to Eva? They really haven't flushed that out at all. But basically, Eva and Dewdrop have a rematch. Dewdrop's going to do better. And then in the match, Eva drops off the ring apron, doesn't make the tag, a la callback to last week, but Dewdrop gets the win and is successful. Eva Marie then announces herself as the sole winner of the tag team match. And y'all, as much as the internet will crucify me for it, and as much as people are hating on this, I kind of really freaking love this storyline. I'm not gonna lie. I think it is everything. I'm already ready for Dewdrop to freaking crush Eva Marie like a little ant. Chris Riddle, what you think about this?
I mean, whatever. I appreciate if they're gonna do this bullshit. It's different than the regular Piper being Eva's straight up bodyguard heater. Like, at least they're doing something a little different with it, where you already see that she's gonna turn on Eva eventually, and Eva's just using her, rather than 6 months of this shit, and then finally Piper turns on her. Using Asuka and Naomi to get defeated by the... Well, I mean, Piper took the pin. It's not like Eva's pinning them. I don't know. It's Raw.
I mean, here's the thing, is people are really upset by, like, oh, Piper Niven beat Asuka or beat Naomi. And it's kind of like, we forget, Piper Niven's credible. Like, she's a really good worker. So
Piper Niven's challenged for the NXT UK title several times.
And have you watched those? They're 5-star.
No, it's NXT UK. I don't watch that, but
I'm endorsing it here. If you're not watching NXT UK, you're missing quality women's
It's good
wrestling.
stuff, yeah.
It's really good stuff. But this I don't mind. It's a good way to introduce Piper as a contender, or I don't know. It's a good way to bring her up and put some eyes on her at least. Sky, are you a Dewdrop fan, or are you kind of against this whole storyline?
I liked watching her matches when she first did the Mae Young Classic.
Mm.
So I think, like, as she comes up, like, she could have a lot of good matches with, like, people that are on the main roster. And do something with the whole, like, being is she, like, Eva's tag partner? Is that what it is?
She's like Eva's apprentice, but, like, also not apprentice. That's the thing, is I feel like we're all asking the questions of, like, what is going on with this storyline, because no one knows exactly what the relationship is.
Yeah, that's what I'm, like, confused about, too. I'm just like, are you, like, paying her off? Like, what? At first, I thought this was going to be something similar to when Nia was Eva's bodyguard back in NXT.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, which I won't lie, I loved every second of. So I was like, okay, I'm down for, like, a rehash of that. Whatever, it is what it is. So I was surprised they had Piper turn on Eva so soon, and then I was even more surprised to see them back together. I was like, I would have liked to see at least a segment with Eva explaining maybe, like, hey, don't you forget, like, you know, I'm the one who got you this contract or something like that, or, you know, like, you're only here as long as I'm here or something like that. I don't know. I would have loved some sort of explanation as to why Piper is still tied to Eva.
Or why she's even tied to her in the first place. We never got
exactly. We never really got that clarification. So I would love to see something like that. I don't hate it, though, because I like that it's actually kind of going to something. And it's the mystery behind it, honestly, is kind of intriguing me. I want to know what's going on. I don't get what's going on. So I want to know that. Plus, like, the only thing I need, though, I need Eva to bust out some new gear. I know she's probably got other stuff, but this purple thing for me is not working.
What the hell is that? What?
I kind of thought it was unfinished the first week. You know, like when Shawn Michaels came out at Survivor Series 2002 and the gear wasn't done and it was just
in the ship pants?
Yeah, and it was just an H on the side. So I was like, okay, maybe they didn't have time to finish the gear, but I'm like, oh no, this is it.
Well, is it
kind of for our viewers who are like Drag Race people? It's kind of like a Joey J chicken feathers look. It's not quite as bad as like a La La Ree bag look, but we're right there with the whole like what's going on.
Oh, I've seen the bag one. Yeah, I know who that is.
Jake and I are very confused by most of these references, but I think we actually got that.
Yeah, it's just I loved her gear. I won't lie, I loved the red like kind of lingerie looking gear she was wearing towards the end of her last run. I would have loved to see something like that come back. I think that worked perfectly for her. So
Isn't like half of this gear gray? Like, was I seeing things the other night?
One of the things is like kind of like a grayish bluish color, but then the rest is purple and gold and just I don't know. It's just a very
And
confusing
it doesn't
look.
work with the pink hairs clashing with it, and it just.
Well, I love that Sky and I are just sitting here like, gear's expensive. Like,
Eva Marie has the money.
I know.
Like so.
yeah, she is. She's not poor.
Especially, like,
Yeah. So.
What were you
I don't
saying,
know.
Sky?
I don't know if it's how it was, because when I met Melina at NWA, she said like when she was there, she would have to like buy her gear, and like it was expensive.
Melina, that makes sense. I mean, well, Melina's gear was so intricate, and that's what I loved about her too. She put the effort in. So for it, I'm sure it's ridiculously expensive. I'm sure, but yeah, Eva. I don't think Eva's hurting.
So Eva already had one run in the company, so she should have known this if she had to pay for shitty gear this time to make it look good.
I don't think it's shitty. Shitty's a strong
It's shitty.
word.
It's
I'll bedazzle
shitty.
it.
It's not her best. It's
Scott
just,
says I'll
it's
bedazzle it.
it's just
Shitty.
I've seen her. We know has had better gear, and she's gone through a few different phases of what kind of gear. Like remember her first match gear, the white thing that was similar to what Mandy Rose wore at SummerSlam last year. And she's gotten better. Like, but I was just surprised to see this was the type of gear. It kind of reminds me of like Candice Michelle's gear,
It does look
circa
like Candice Michelle
yeah,
gear.
right, like circa 2007, 2008. So I don't know. I don't think it's working for her. But no, we'll see.
It's a boot, not a toot.
Well, speaking of not working, Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
We got some more follow-up with this feud that's not really a feud, that's kind of a feud, that's also a feud in a multiverse, different, low-key multiverse feud. I don't know what it is anymore. Because you've got two people who are neither heels nor faces, not even really tweeners. These characters are literally the most up-in-the-air characters I've ever seen in professional wrestling. I have not seen a solid character arc or determination from either Charlotte or Rhea. I love them both. I think they're phenomenal performers. But this build-up to this Money in the Bank match is messy, like after Pride weekend, get yourself a wet wipe messy. Like, so this week what we saw was Charlotte team up with the women's tag team champions of Natalya and Tamina to take on Rhea Ripley and Guns N' Roses, Mandy Rose and Dewdrop. And we saw Flair boot Mandy Rose, get the win, and then afterwards Rhea chop blocks Charlotte in the back of the leg. She falls over. They have a stare down. That's it. And then we have one more week till Money in the Bank. And I'm just like, y'all.
She chop blocked her, and she gets up, and then they just look at each other.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's Charlotte Flair. She does not sell. It's Charlotte
It
Flair.
was
Oh, but she's
really
doing an
weird.
injury update on Raw Monday after her chalk block.
After the chop block.
Yes.
It was just to the back of the leg. That was it. She took her knee out.
I know,
But
but like, why would you get all the way down to get back up and look at each other? I'm too much of a wrestler now. I'm trying to think.
Because it was brutality.
it was
Like, why
brutality.
don't
So
know.
I went on my soapbox to talk about this feud. Jake, what are you thinking about the Charlotte Flair Rhea Ripley build up? Because honestly, this story wasn't about Mandy, Dana, Natalya, Tamina.
No, and that made me sad because I'm more interested in the Mandana versus Natalya and Tamina thing than anything
Yeah.
else. I like that there's somewhat of an actual feud going on between the tag titles. So I guess Mandy and Dana are kind of heels now. They haven't officially made it, but I'm guessing with their attack last week on Natty and Tamina, they're more of the heels in the situation at this point because the Rhea team seemed like the heel team based on the dubbed in audio. It was a
So
little
is
confusing.
Charlotte a babyface?
So I think
No.
Charlotte. Well, I think Charlotte was the heel. She just had to team with Natty and Tamina. That's why they had that segment before where she's like, we may not get along, but we both respect this business and like all that stuff.
Good.
So-
we all respect the business. Do you like the other girl or not?
Yeah. So I think they were just like kind of like, hey, like we just want to beat them tonight. So that was kind of the point there. So it's weird. A heel versus heel feud for the title is weird. We don't see it that often. So I would have kept Rhea as a face the whole time. It's odd to me that they turned her heel. It makes me think maybe they're setting her up to face like Becky or something at SummerSlam. But I mean, I can't think of any other reason they would have turned her heel and had her feud with Charlotte. So I guess that we're gonna have that. But I don't know. The match itself wasn't the worst for me. I'm probably the minority. I thought it was kind of fun, but I really like watching Mandy and Dana in the ring. I loved Dana's little tribute to Trish Stratus. That was awesome. So I don't know. The match itself, I didn't hate. I think I'm kind of like everyone else though, where I'm kind of over the Rhea and Charlotte situation at this point.
I just need an explanation. Sky, any thoughts on Rhea and Charlotte's current feud?
I didn't see the tag match, but I watched the match at the last pay-per-view, I believe it was. Or what, I think. Are they wrestling?
They run together at a certain point.
Maybe.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
But there was a match, and I was watching it, and the match just like did not make sense. But Charlotte's gear was really pretty, the purple. And I know Rick from Global Wrestling, and it was really pretty. So I was like, her gear.
Got you. Chris, any thoughts?
Oh, yes. So we're missing a very key part of this match that I've been wanting to talk about all week.
Oh, no.
Did anybody see that brawl spot between Rhea and Charlotte and them tangling up on the outside and going into the barricade and then into the ring? And it was interesting.
It was interesting. I'm going to let you and Jake talk on that if you'd like to. I have a decree on this channel that I like to do. I'm not going to critique anybody's wrestling because I know any day I can walk out there and have the worst fucking match that I've ever had in my life.
So here's the thing. I wasn't going to bring it up, but the fact that this has been a little bit of a trend with Rhea on the main roster. So I'm just... I did cringe. And I'm like you, normally I wouldn't bring up spots, but... just the whole dynamic of they don't know what the hell they're doing with Charlotte and Rhea on top of I honestly don't think they work that well together.
That doesn't help anything whenever you don't have a solid storyline, because we did live through, being fans of the old school Diva era, and not all the matches were crisp. But when they do have a story, you can take a hair.
You're kind of more forgiving. You have to have one or the other, though.
Exactly, and that's why I've always loved the Divas era, because I'm like, at least we had backstage segments, so you knew why these girls were really feuding with each other, and it had a situation that made sense. There was at least something that led to this problem. Ashley Massaro was in the Timbaland video, Jillian wasn't. Now we know why they're feuding. So, but it's just with this. It's just kind of all right, at what point, where is this going? Why are they still feuding? Why is this still going on? They've already established everything. So, I don't know. I didn't hate the match, to be honest. For me, I didn't cringe as much at stuff, but I thought a lot of it was really fun. It had a lot of fun spots, but I think that's because of the dynamic of the other women being involved with it as well. I
did like the stuff with the tag girls, like you said, a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been as invested if it was just Rhea and Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't want to come over here and be overly critical because I liked the match in general, but just something about that I was...
Yeah, I hear you.
So hopefully they clean it up by the end of Money in the Bank. But guys, we need to answer some super chats because people love us this week. They are flooding in because I can't even scroll to get back to one. So I want to address it real quick. I can't remember who sent it, but they asked if we think that Bayley is going, or who's going to win Money in the Bank and then cash it in on SmackDown. Do we think it's a high probability that they will cash it in on the SmackDown Women's Champion?
Who's the last couple? Raw. I think it's a SmackDown turn to cash in, right?
They've alternated each year, right? Yeah.
So I think this year would be a SmackDown. I mean, that makes sense. To be honest, I think whoever cashes in this year isn't winning.
Oh, it'd be the first time, right?
Yeah, because it hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened with the women.
And unfortunately, it's going to need to at some point. So I think whoever wins Money in the Bank this year isn't going to walk out as champion.
I can support that. But let's do some more super chats and check these out. Michael De La Rosa, thank you, said Nikki's very much giving kick-ass vibes. I'm hoping they use this gimmick to push her really far, only for her to lose and go psycho again. No lie, Michael, that is on point with what I was hoping this gimmick would be. So thank you for saying that. I hope she loses her positivity and goes into being a nutcase again. You guys have any other thoughts on this comment?
I love that. I think that makes total sense. The kick-ass thing didn't click at first, but now it is. I like that.
You know what? You can ask Jake. I was not a fan of the superhero gimmick as soon as they debuted it, but they had actually won me over by the end of the night. So I hope, it's not a bad idea, but I hope they stick with the superhero for a long time first, if they do end up doing that. Especially when the live crowds come back.
Yeah, Sky, what do you think of Nikki being a superhero and then possibly going psycho again?
I think that'd be a good way to like make her character evolve and have there be more layers to it than just either plain old psycho or plain old superhero. Make like a whole.
Yeah, especially when she was just drinking coffee for a solid little bit.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Want to shout out to Jax.
Jack? Shoot?
Thank you for
Thanks
your,
for the super chat.
Thank you.
We love you. Let's see who else we got. They also said, what do you think about Dewdrop turning on the Evolution and feuding with Nia Jax?
Evolution. New from St. Olives.
It does say Evolution. Oh, no
Wait, I wonder what it
doubt.
smells
Eva
like.
Marie, if you're watching, which I'm sure you are, we're famous over on Ring the Bell. Please market Evolution, sell it on the E Network and commercials. We will buy it.
Shreds Evolution coming soon.
Honestly, it might be her next product with her Bellamy hair extensions, which I saw her promoting again, and I was so hyped because I loved when she promoted the Bellamy hair extensions. It was all the time.
As far as feuding with Nia Jax, I think it's only a matter of time before we see Piper go up against Nia.
Yeah.
It's a battle of women that we haven't really seen before in WWE.
I think the first time we're going to see it, honestly, is in a Royal Rumble moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Sky, you got some women's wrestling knowledge, and you being a women's wrestler, what would you think of seeing Nia and Piper Niven square off against each other? What would you think of that battle?
I didn't feel that.
Oh, Piper versus Nia.
I think they would put on a really good match because they both have different styles, but they both, they're different. They're not just typical. It would be they would structure it differently, I think.
They are not like most girls.
It needs to be an evolution on a pole match.
Jake, I want to throw something at you.
A bottle of Evolution?
Sandshrew, Alola, Jolly Life, Orb 4, HP 252, Attack 252, Speed, just sending love. Thank you.
I think that's actually the name of the model of my computer I'm currently on.
I adore that screen. Let's see, who else do we get? Someone that we know, Jose Gonzalez. Thank you.
Hey,
We love Jose. Let's see, we got a lot of these to go through real quick, y'all. Backup Dwill. I love that name.
That's amazing.
Backup Dwill says Shayna Baszler is really being wasted. They have so much potential with a Rhea versus Shayna feud. Rehash with Shayna putting up Rhea to sleep for the title. I love Shayna versus Rhea. I thought they had phenomenal matches in NXT. I would love to see this feud restarted.
Yeah, I would totally be down for it. Their feud was so much fun. And it was such a big moment for Rhea when she won the title. I would definitely be down for them rehashing that. It'd be interesting to see the roles reversed, though, with Shayna as the face this time, though. I don't know if it works, but...
Well, and you know what? I wanted to mention this earlier during Raw. They are desperately in need of new challengers for that title. So if Shayna and Nia were to break off, I would love to see Shayna kind of end up in that title picture again.
just think about having Shayna Baszler on your roster and thinking that you don't have her in contention for a title. Like, that's just still maddening to me. That woman is an all-out beast. Oh, look who showed up again. Jose Gonzalez said Eva's gear was going flazed, but ended up being very Saint-Tropez. Joey, that's all on you. What'd I do? I don't know what most of these words mean.
Is this a drag race thing? Anytime I don't understand something, I think it's a drag race thing. Is this a drag race thing?
Is Saint-Tropez a city in California?
Isn't it like a Grand Theft Auto game?
Is this a Wheel of Fortune puzzle? Do we get a prize if we figure this out?
You're going to confuse me again right in front of my salad. Okay, last but not least, and then we have to move on to SmackDown. Kennard White says, I kind of want a stable with Tamina, Natalya, and Charlotte as legacies. I know cheesy, but it would be entertaining. I am all for it. I love it.
If we get the legacy theme back for them, I'm totally down for it. Legacy!
Guy, Natalya, Tamina, and Charlotte as the legacy trio. Thoughts?
I love it. I remember reading something, someone wanted that like years ago when Charlotte first kind of got called up, and I thought it was cool then.
Yeah, Nia, Tamina, and Charlotte. Oh no! Can you hear? Are you there?
Oh, because they're all somebody's child or relative.
Sky, you're just the most
I think
precious
so.
and adorable
I don't know.
human.
She's
I
so
am
cute.
loved.
I don't know. Ah,
Joey, one thing
does that work?
Hello?
Hello? Are you broke? I think I'm broke.
No. You're still here, baby.
I'm a mess.
I love it. Well, guys, just for the sake of time, let's go ahead and jump over to talking about what happened on SmackDown. So, what we got on SmackDown this week, besides the Zelina Vega return, which we've already talked about, and her match with Liv, we also saw a fun little promo with Bayley and Bianca Belair ahead of their Money in the Bank match. This was a fun promo that I enjoyed, and then it ended with something that I didn't know I needed. But it's Bianca Belair versus Bayley in an I Quit match at Money in the Bank, and y'all, I thought Hell in a Cell was like big fight feel. The I Quit match, this gave me all of that, like, ooh, this is gonna be a match vibes, and I'm so for it. Mr. Chris Riddle, how are you feeling about an I Quit match in the future?
So, I believe there was one in NXT UK, but besides that, this will be the first female I Quit match since 2008, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm missing something.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So, I told Jake last night my favorite match type besides Hell in a Cell is an I Quit match. So, as somebody who was like, Bianca and Bayley again, now I'm like, holy shit, I'm pumped for it. And I'm very surprised because I figured that there's been so much bras and shit between Charlotte and Rhea. I figured they were getting a no DQ stipulation or something at the pay-per-view. So, this actually caught me by surprise in a good way.
I adore it. Absolutely adore it. Jake, what are you thinking?
I love it. Melina versus Beth is one of my favorite all-time matches. Their I Quit match, especially the spot at the end where Beth like twists Melina into a pretzel and like pulls her all the way back. Such a good spot. And if you haven't seen it, guys, watch it. I'm sure it's on Vimeo or some shit. But anyway, I loved that they're doing this kind of match. It was a great promo between both women too. Like the intensity they are both bringing out into this feud is so good. And I think at first when I knew Bayley was going to be the challenger, I was kind of like, okay, well, that makes sense. Bayley's a solid choice. But they have really taken what they were doing months ago and turned it into something completely different, which I love and I am so impressed with. And Bianca more and more is looking like a standout champion. So I love that for her. I love Bayley as this heel. I'm hoping Bayley goes to Raw after the draft and everything, something fresh for her. But this is really working, and I cannot wait for the match.
Same here. Sky, are you excited for a Bianca versus Bayley in an I Quit match?
No.
Chris Riddle, I adore you yet hate you.
It's okay, my organs do too.
Sky, did you hear any of that?
No.
I'm just going. Oh,
Oh no.
I think you're freezing a bit, Sky. So let's go ahead and we're gonna wrap this up with this discussion and do one more
Am I
super chat.
frozen?
I don't know, baby. You're kind of like freezing, going in and out, but we'll figure it out. We got you. Let's do.
Are you streaming from Peacock? Like
The live broadcast will begin soon.
Don't talk about Peacock. It is the bane of my existence. But one more super chat, and then we'll go ahead and you guys. This was like the most efficient live that we've done so far. This is a solid discussion. We are 15 minutes before usual closing time. So if you guys have some super chats, you can continue to send those in. But the name that I can't pronounce says, "I quit match with a bottle of Evolution at ringside for Money in the Bank."
Oh, hey, can I bring back one quick thing for Raw? It'll take like 30 seconds.
Do it.
Did anybody notice that they referenced the welcoming committee
That's
in that
funny.
in that backstage segment where Charlotte goes, "Daddy and Tamina and I haven't always gotten along. They weren't very welcoming at one point in time." I was like, "Oh, they actually remembered something from the past."
And they're gonna be like, "Look at us learning long-term storytelling."
It had to be one of the girls that threw that in. It had to be. I'm not convinced. It's one of the writers.
legitimately though, up until you said that, it didn't click for me that Natty and Tamina have already been in the team together. Like, I totally forgot about the welcoming committee.
Oh yeah. Oh, I did
And
forget
that
about
was
the
a-
welcoming committee.
And that was a fun little stable, so I'm actually really sad I did. So,
Sorry,
but yeah, I quit match. The lotion needs to be used. I bet it smells like peaches or strawberries and all those delicious things. So hopefully we see the Eva lotion in the I quit match.
By the way, I'm calling it now. The finish of that I Quit match will be Bianca choking Bailey out with her hair.
Oh, I agree with that. Let's go ahead and see. I believe we got another super chat. Did I lose it? David Primero said SmackDown Women's Division is gold, hoping for Ruby Riott and the Iconics to return. Y'all, no lie, with how everything went with Zelina Vega, it wouldn't shock me if either of these three came back.
I agree.
Well, I doubt the tag team is coming back because I think they're on their way to another company. But I would love that, don't get me wrong. I was telling Jake last night, Raw and SmackDown's women's divisions are two different worlds right now. Like, I don't know if they've got different whole sets of writers, but it is like, Raw is like the bane of my existence and SmackDown is like must-see each week.
I can agree with that. Raw's been pretty tiring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. But I agree. I would love to see Ruby and the Iconics come back. And I agree with what Joey was saying, too. It's everything's kind of so unpredictable right now. Like, even with Joe coming back, too, like, you never really know what's going to happen. So, who knows? I'd love to see them back. But SmackDown's women's division is great. So, yeah, hopefully it stays that way.
Hopefully it does stay that way. But you know what, guys? Let's go ahead and call an audible. We're gonna go on home. Jake, where can the people find you across the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Jake, not Jacob Smith. And you can find me on Twitter at Jake isn't Jacob. My name is not Jacob for those following along. You can also hear Joey and I every week on the Golden Era podcast, where we recap the WWE Women's Division from when Trish Stratus first won the title at Survivor Series 2001 on. Currently, we are at where Jazz interrupted the wet t-shirt contest between Terry and Trish that you can hear on this week's episode. We're on all podcast platforms.
And you can also hear when Stephanie McMahon's action figure came with a mop bucket.
Yes, you can. We do talk about that. Chris Riddle, where can the folks find you across this lovely interwebs?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Riddle, at your local retirement home, or at your local cookout.
Oh, Chris, get me a cookout tray, please.
I'll probably be going there as soon as we finish here.
Love it. And Sky Blue, where can folks find you all across the internet? Can you hear us, Sky?
Instagram, Sky Blue Wrestler. Twitter is SKYEBYEE, and Patreon. You gotta put wrestler after it though, otherwise you don't get me. That's kind of bad.
That's fair. Also, has that dog been
Did they
there
hear
the
you? I have
entire
no idea.
time?
Did you hear any of that?
We did. I'm more concerned. Did that Beanie Baby just randomly
Yes.
pop up, or has that been there the whole time?
Wait. Wait. Wait.
I have not noticed that the last hour until 30 seconds ago.
Right? That's why I was like, look at that.
Oh.
My heart.
Wait, can
I
you hear
adore
it?
Yes.
Jake, will Ralph also sing like that?
Hey, can you hear you?
Oh, he
It's
ran
me.
away. Ralph,
Oh, no, he will not!
come back, baby. It's okay.
Plug myself like I do most Friday nights and
I'm sorry,
Saturdays.
it's frozen.
You can follow me at Joey_Mayberry on Instagram and Twitter, Joey.Mayberry on TikTok. Please check out us every single Saturday here on Ring the Bell Live. Check me out every Friday with Jake on Golden Era. And coming next month, Tommy Purr and I will be doing a special podcast called Divas 101, where we discuss 101 top moments throughout women's history. He compiled this list. Some of these are a doozy. But you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Ring the Bell Live. We're back here each and every Saturday at 3 p.m. EST. If you like this episode, thumbs up, just like this. Also, if you're not subscribed, hit the button. I don't know why you're here if you're not subscribed. That's weird. Hit that button. And last but not least, we will see you next week for more women's action, and hopefully it's exciting. Bye!
Bye, guys.